watching Untitled TV, live with Geoff Tate for Operation Mindcrime's 30th anniversary.
Well, just the era that you came up in, you know, I mean, it really was the birth, the heyday of American heavy metal, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would imagine there's a lot of guys that you had to have been rubbing elbows with, just, you know, touring with and stuff like that. I mean...
Yeah. When Queensrÿche started, you know, we didn't play our own shows. We opened for bands for years. In fact, we were a band for 30 years. I'd say probably 20 of that was spent opening for other bands.
Get out of here.
No, we were like the band that you had on your tour to open up for you, you know. We drew a lot of tickets and
well, sure.
You know, we'd sold a lot of records and
yes, you
people
did.
knew us, you know, but we got this sort of reputation as this arena band, but it wasn't our show. It was somebody else's show we were opening up for.
Could have easily been, though.
Well, I mean, we did our first tour of arenas was on the Empire album, and that was pretty successful. Mm-hmm. And then we did another one with Promised Land, and then that's the last one we did. And then we went back to playing theaters and, you know, smaller venues and clubs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I'm Scotty J. You are watching Rock Titan TV, and I am in the presence of a man who has to have one of the greatest voices in the history of heavy metal. Yes, sir. Geoff Tate. You know him from Queensrÿche, and he is here with his band Operation Mindcrime on the 30th anniversary of the album.
Yeah, 30 years. Wow.
30 years. I mean, seriously.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there's only a few things that actually make me feel old in life, you know, like when you go to like family reunions, birthday parties, and you see little kids and you're like, oh my God, you know, they grew up so fast. And then Operation Mindcrime. I'm thinking, 30 years? Does it feel like that for you?
You know, most days not. Some days, when you crawl out of that bunk on the tour bus, yeah, it does.
Getting out of bed, yeah, that's another one.
Oh, well, what did I do last night? Oh, yeah, I sang a show.
Yeah, right on.
How can that make me feel like this? Oh, yeah, I drank that bottle of wine afterwards. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
But, yeah, here we are, Sellersville Theater, you know, in Pennsylvania.
I love this venue. This is, I've played here many times.
Okay.
Great memories of this place.
Awesome.
I can remember my whole band stretched out on the sofa, everybody sick with the flu.
No.
And the people that run the place were taking care of us and giving us hot soup and, you know, trying to nurse us back to health so we could do a good show that night. And,
oh, wow.
Man, it's just been a great little theater that really is like the old school theater, like the theaters used to be.
Right.
You know, where you know the people and they know you and you see them every year or two and you kind of develop a relationship with them, you know, and that's really cool. A lot of places that doesn't exist anymore. You know?
Right? Yeah. No, it has that very, you know, old school, like you said, nostalgic kind of feel. And obviously you've got your fans here because sign on the front, sold out.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't expect anything less. But one of the things I thought was really cool, you know, just kind of looking over the history of, you know, Operation Mindcrime, the album. We were talking a little while ago about this is almost like the birthplace of it. You know, you're right in the area where a good portion of it was actually recorded.
Yep, that's right. Gladwin, PA.
Yeah.
Just down the highway. We spent quite a while there at a recording studio called Victory, making the record, recording. It was a wonderful old building built in the 1700s. I guess it was a water mill at one time, and there were ghosts and weird things happening, and we'd be recording and all the power would go off and then pop back on and nobody could figure out why this was happening, and, you know, things like that was pretty common there.
Now what would be wild is like go back over like some of those recordings and see if there's any white noise. Like if you actually hear anything.
Yeah, I'm sure there probably is all kinds of weird stuff. That a lot of people might not know this, but Operation Mindcrime was one of the first digital recordings
really
put out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I think that's really interesting too is just the way it tells a story. You know, the whole album's a story, and then of course you did all the music videos. You know, I was out there looking, and again, it's like a chronological story.
Yep.
You know, just telling it out. And it's funny that it's 30 years ago because I'm just thinking at the landscape that we're in now. You know, with like, you know, the heroin epidemic that we have, with the opioid epidemic, and just politics kind of run amok. I mean, everyone's going nuts. I mean, I can't remember a time in my life where anything's been more polarizing, you know. And here you've got this album. It's almost like a prophecy, almost, you know, looking forward into the future. For you, having written, you know, the majority of it, do you sense that that story then is still every bit as applicable today?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that makes the album so enduring to people is the story, and it's a classic kind of story of humanity. It's a story of power and the abuse of power, which we have nowadays. We have a chaotic political system. We have a real imbalance of wealth in this country. It's very similar to the way things were in the early 80s.
Yeah.
It's kind of a repeat performance in a sense. And at the time, when I wrote the story, that's where I was coming from, was seeing all this stuff that was going on, and I just took my love story between Nikki and Mary and I set it in the time of the early 80s when all this was going on. And it's weird that it's all come around again, but I guess that's kind of human nature, you know. We kind of keep reliving, you know, the past over and over again, just with different characters, you know, in a sense.
Yeah, it is wild. I mean, and I guess you would have hoped that, you know, maybe society as a whole would have evolved, you know, beyond that, but here we are.
Yeah.
You know, celebrate.
It's always the story of the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, right.
And the conflict between the two. You know, it's classic.
Yeah. Now you're talking about one of the characters, Mary, and from what I understand, your daughter is kind of taking on that role with Operation Mindcrime. Is that correct?
Yeah. My daughter Emily is touring with us on this tour. She has a wonderful band called Till Death Do Us Part, and they have their first album out, and they're opening up our shows for us. And then she's joining me on stage for the song Sweet Sister Mary, and she sings the part of Mary, which is really strange and weird and wonderful. She wasn't yet born when this album came out, you know, but she's grown up with it.
Right.
You know, when she was studying music and learning music, this was one of the albums that she learned and was exposed to, and now she's singing this part, and it's her turn, it's her time, you know.
Proud papa? Did you have any concerns, like once, you know, she had made it, you know, apparent to you that she wanted to have a career in music, that's the path she wanted to go down? Did you have any particular feelings about that, knowing it as well as you do?
She told me that at 9, when she was 9 years old.
You're like, yeah, whatever.
She was holding my hand. We were getting ready to go out and sing a song together. She toured with me on the American Soldier album, sang a song that we had recorded for that album. And so we're standing backstage getting ready to go out and sing the song. We're opening up for Sammy Hagar's band, whatever that band was called, Chickenfoot.
Okay.
And she goes, Dad, I like this. I think I'm going to be a singer when I grow up. And I thought, at the time, I thought, like all kids, you know, I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up, or a fireman, you know, and I thought, you know, they always change their minds, you know, so I didn't really think much of it.
Just going into the family business.
Yeah. Well, then about a year and a half ago, I was reading the newspaper in my living room, and she came in and she said, hey, you want to hear my new CD? And I said, sure. And I thought it was a CD that she just bought, you know, and she was going to share it with me. She tossed the CD in my lap, and I went, oh, what CD is it? And there's her picture on the cover. You made a CD?
Wow.
She goes, yeah. And at first I was kind of shocked and kind of dismayed in a sense, because she didn't ask me my opinion or my help or anything like that. And I was a little bit struck down. But then as I thought about it, I thought, well, yeah, that's the way it should be. You know, it's her art, it's her music, it's her voice, it's her feelings and her emotions, and it shouldn't have anything to do with me. It's all about her, you know. Sure. And I respect that.
Sure. No, that's cool. Well, I mean, you see a lot of times, like, you know, kids of celebrities, they sometimes even change their last name because they want to make it on their own steam. You know, they don't want to necessarily be riding the coattails, or, you know, feel like there's some sense of entitlement that they got to where they are only because of who their parents are. Yeah. You know, so...
and I respect that. That's a good way to look at things, I think, and healthy, and and it makes for honest music too.
Right on, right on. And I mean, you gave her the DNA, you know. So I mean,
something to do with it,
you know, right?
I gave her the DNA and maybe the the jumping off point. I gave her my whole record collection. I said, hey, start with A, go to Z, and ABBA to Zappa, and see what you like. You know, and she did that. She was a student of music, man. She listened to everything.
Yeah, you got to have some record collection.
I do have a massive record collection. I have records I haven't even listened to.
Really?
Yeah, that I have, and people give me all the time, you know. Check out my record, or here's my record, or they send me in the mail. And,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, I've been asking a lot of artists like yourself, you know, this particular question, just because it seems to be so interesting that vinyl is getting this, like, nostalgic kind of adrenaline shot these days. It seems like a lot of people are, you know, doing records.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's great. Yeah. I like vinyl. It you know, I've seen all the different mediums come out, from you know, LPs to MP3s.
Right.
And you know, it's good. It's good having music on a number of different mediums. I think it just depends on what you want to do with it. You know, I am of the opinion that sometimes you like to sit and you like to listen to an album and just immerse yourself in it. And other times you want to be listening to it on the go. So now we have the choice of you know, what we want, and we can do all of the above.
We are much more mobile now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We're moving.
Yeah.
Got stuff to do.
Yeah, right? You know, and people's attention spans anymore are like so short anyway. It's crazy. But
I'm struggling right now.
Right? You know? I got Geoff Tate busting my balls, people. Oh man, no, that's too good. That is too good. Well, obviously tonight, you know, here we are. You're going to be playing Operation Mindcrime, you know, start to finish, and you know, throwing in some of your other hits that you had, you know, with Queensrÿche. But I noticed that coming out of the gates, you know, with your band, you're already 3 albums in, you know, and you came out with your last one just this past December. You're like quick succession, boom, 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 boom. Are we already looking at like a 4th album, I guess, coming out?
No,
like
I think I'm done for a while. I've got 19 albums now.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Man.
I know, wow, huh? I didn't really realize how many I had until somebody pointed out to me the other day. I went, no, really? 19? I started counting them up, and sure enough, 19 records. I have a few more in me. The things I want to do, absolutely. But I'm really kind of taking a break now because I've been working really hard in the studio for the last few years and made 3 albums in 3 years.
Yeah.
I need to take a break for a while and get some more input, so I'm
Right
touring
on.
a lot now.
Okay.
And I'm touring all this rest of 2018, and then I'm going to take a short break. And then I'm doing something kind of different. I'm going on tour with another band.
Are you now?
Yeah, I met these really cool people in Germany called Avantasia, Tobias Sammet's organization, and they do these big, gigantic conceptual records and tours. And so I'm joining his group and going to tour with them next year, all through the whole year.
Very cool.
It's kind of fun for me.
Yeah.
You know, since I departed from Queensrÿche, one of the things I've wanted to do is I wanted to play with a number of different people and experience it, because honestly, I played with the same people for 30 years.
Right.
And so now I'm kind of really enjoying doing different things and having different musical experiences, and it's I found it's really good for my spirit. Makes me I don't know, makes me happy, you know.
Any thoughts of putting together like a supergroup?
Me putting together a supergroup?
Yeah, like, you know, some of your peers from back in the day.
Gosh, not really. I haven't really thought in that direction, but you might have just planted a seed. I don't know.
Well, I mean, seriously, I mean, I wasn't just blowing smoke early on. I mean, you are known for having one of the most unique, powerful voices in heavy metal. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, when your music comes on and you hear your voice, it's like, you know who it is, like, right away.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just so distinctive. I would imagine there would be a lot of guitarists, bass players, drummers out there, you know, again, that had been peers of yours, you know, all coming up through the, you know, 80s era, that would probably be chomping at the bit to do a project with you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's an idea.
We planted the seed.
Here it might be, right here.
Right here, right here, right now. Yeah, no, not bad. Very cool. Are there any places that you've never toured, that are kind of on your bucket list?
Oh,
that you
yeah.
like to go to?
Well, I've played in 65 countries, which is quite respectable.
Yes.
There's a lot more. I think there's, 119 countries worldwide. So I'm kind of short. I got more places to go. But honestly, there's places I really don't have an interest in going. I went to Kuwait and Iraq a couple years ago.
Really?
Never want to do that again. I was not into that at all.
I don't know what the landscape would be like over there, just at least from
I have one word.
a musical perspective.
Bleak.
Yeah, right?
Bleak.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a horrible existence. When you're a Westerner, you're used to a different kind of life altogether, and going there, it's like a different definition of life.
Yeah.
That one that I don't agree with, or
I had to give you a lot of
entertain.
perspective.
It did. It gave me 3 weeks of perspective that I wish I could get that 3 weeks back in my life,
man.
honestly. Well, not to, how can I say this? I like to drink.
Okay. I do too.
I do too. You can't drink there.
Really?
There's no alcohol allowed.
Really? Wow.
You ever tried to go 3 weeks without having a drink?
Yeah, not in a while.
No, it's a test of your your humanity. I think
You got to come out with like your own beer, or your own vodka or
I
something.
have my own wine.
You do have your own wine.
Yeah.
Really? What's it
Yeah.
called?
Insania.
Insania.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those labels where if you put like your phone over it with the app, the thing comes to life and or it tells a story?
Yeah, sure. No.
You know what I'm talking about?
No,
though?
I don't know what that is. No.
Oh my gosh, there's this wine. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but even then, they're not sponsoring me, so I wouldn't plug them anyway. But there's an app you can get for your phone, and when you go over the label on the bottle of wine, the thing comes to life.
Really?
And like starts telling a story. It's almost like something you'd expect out of like a Disney haunted mansion or something like that. It
Well,
has
now
that
I'm
kind
intrigued.
of feel.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you could, have beers named after songs you've written, and...
Well, I have a love of wine.
Okay,
And,
alright, so wine's your thing?
I've been making my own wine since 2007 was my
Okay.
first vintage.
Right on.
And it's made in on the German-French border in Alsace region. And it's fantastic wine.
Where can we purchase this? Where can we get it?
Oh, you can get it on my website. You can hit a button that takes you to the place, and they'll send it to you if you order it. It's in some wine shops. We're a very small little label, and so we don't have a lot of wine.
Red wine, white wine, both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a Pinot Noir red wine and a Pinot Gris white
Oh.
wine. And they're both called Insania.
Oh,
And
we're
they're
going to
both
get that
excellent.
out. Yeah, no, we'll definitely. Hey, all wine enthusiasts. Here we go, right here. No, very awesome.
Wine enthusiast, nice way of saying wino.
Wordsmithing is everything.
It is.
You
it's
know
branding.
that.
It's all about branding.
You're a writer, you gotta, be the master of your vocabulary,
Helps.
But parting thoughts here, And actually, I have to give my partner Tom Collins some credit for this because there was one thing that he really wanted to know from you personally. So Tom, this is for you. He wanted to know if Geoff Tate today were to go back to a 20-year-old Geoff Tate. If you could make that time travel journey, is there any particular advice that you would give him?
Oh, tons of advice. Oh, yeah.
Anything like really in particular that's something that you would have done drastically different?
Yeah, I would have gotten some sort of business education.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've really been at, how do I put it? I don't know anything about business.
Well, you've been through the ringer, obviously, from a
I've-
music business perspective.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
more than most.
Perhaps, yeah. We've
You
had
know?
some pretty tough situations arise from twice record companies going out of business just right after they release a record with no record company support, no nothing.
Right.
And, the record just doesn't sell and that kind of things.
Right.
Twice that's happened to me. Had managers embezzle millions of dollars from the band.
Really? Oh, my God.
Just all kinds of horror stories.
Yeah.
But I would have taken some sort of business education early on. Nobody in the band Queensrÿche, none of us went to college because we started this right out of high school.
And then you end up having to trust a lot of other people.
You end up having to trust a lot of people, and a lot of people lead you astray, and a lot of people have the best intentions, but then get waylaid with their own problems, which affects you, and it's a domino effect, you know. And I'm not complaining. I mean, I've had a really good and great life. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
But it's been trying at times. But I guess that's part of what makes life interesting too. If it was all so easy, and then I don't know, maybe there wouldn't be the music there is, you know. Because that has a lot to do with writing is what you feel, what you go through, experiences you have comes out in your music, you know.
Sure. But that's great. I mean, you really bring up a great point, though, because I mean, it's one thing to be an artist and a musician, and obviously, you know, especially for you singers, you know, I mean, you're so creative and you're so passionate, and you know, everything is, you know, really revealed in the work that you do. But then there's this business side, the logical side of life that is inevitable, you know, when you become a successful musician. And that's where things can really, I mean, play with your emotions, as if you already need that. You know,
I have no logical thinking available to me at all.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's a great piece of advice, I think, you know, for the younger artists today. Mm-hmm. You know, especially in this world of social media and just the way everyone puts value on one another now. It's like, oh, I didn't get enough likes, I didn't get enough views, I didn't get enough hits, so you have a lesser feel for yourself, and it's like, this stuff didn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
You know, back in our day, it didn't exist.
What's funny about that is the older you get and you look back at how things have changed. I have a lot of young people in my band, which is really fun.
Yeah.
Incredible. The enthusiasm they have for what they're doing is really infectious, and I love it. But they'll ask me stories. Well, what was it like in 1995? And, you know, what was it like when you were hanging out with Depeche Mode and you guys disappeared for a week and all that? And I'll tell them stories, and they'll go, what? How did you guys, like, navigate without GPS? How did you get anywhere without a cell phone? You know, what did you do? How did you keep in contact with people? How did the business work then? And they can't believe it. They honestly can't understand how life was then. And how could you if you hadn't lived it?
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, who puts the way they put value on things? Like, in my generation, if somebody called you a rock star, oh, you were throwing down and fighting.
Oh,
those
yeah?
words. A rock star was an insult.
Really?
Yeah. A rock star was somebody that wasn't talented. They weren't a musician. They were just a celebrity. They were somebody that looked pretty or handsome, and they got their pictures taken a lot and that kind of thing. They didn't have any substance to what they did.
Interesting.
You know, and that was an insult. You didn't want to be called a rock star.
Oh, man.
That was horrible to be saying that to somebody. But nowadays, they use that all the time. That's common, you know. Having endorsements and things like that. Sure. Uncool. You did not have endorsements. You did not endorse a automobile or a business of any kind or anything. Very uncool. Now it's like de rigueur. You know,
well, it's where the money is.
That's what everybody does. You know, it's expected.
Well, I mean, and plus it's got to be hard because, you know, back in your day, you know, there was a little method of revenue generation known as, you know, selling music, which today is quite a bit more challenging, where you're forced to tour and sell merch and start your own vineyard and, you know, stuff like that. So
you have to, because the music is, that's another weird thing. Like, at some point in the 90s, I'm thinking that from my memory, collectively, the world just decided that music should be free, and people just started taking it.
Yeah,
and nobody did anything about it.
Yeah, right.
Now, what if we do that today? That we all decide, hey, automobiles should be free. Mm-hmm. Let's just all take them and see what happens. Interesting social experiment. Or how about groceries? Go to the grocery store, fill up your cart, walk away.
Yeah,
I mean, who stops you?
Digital shoplifting. You know, piracy. I mean, it is horrible. It's a horrible thing. You know, and I remember way back when Napster was doing that.
Rock stars.
And then Lars, you know, went nuts, and you know, then everyone.
Hats off to him for standing up and saying what he felt, because he's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I challenge anybody to suffer an 85% loss in their income.
Yeah.
Like musicians did, people that wrote music and wrote songs. Right. 85% loss in income.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Staggering.
It's staggering, and it's got to be hard, especially, you know, for the artists that got used to a certain standard of living, and then only to have that all taken away. Now you have to adapt to that, but then you also have to feel kind of bad for, you know, the artists that came out, you know, post 2000, like that era, because now all of a sudden the business side of it really kind of dried up, like everything that their parents
disappeared.
Right, you know, so it's just kind of like, man, the idea of this starving artist is really kind of taken on a whole new meaning, because it's like, what's the goal? You know, the goal used to be make music, sell your music. But now it's like make music and
make more music,
make more music,
and make more music, and
tour.
Do it all for free.
You know,
if you can tour.
If you can tour.
How does a young band make it? How do they tour? You can't tour unless you have an audience who's going to buy tickets.
Right.
How can you get an audience if you don't tour?
Right. Yeah. No. Well, it's a good thing that you know, had Queensrÿche when you did, and
it is. I feel very lucky and fortunate for that.
But somehow I think that, you know, one way or the other, you were going to get to where you ultimately got to. You know, no matter what the vessel was.
Yeah, I'm not that driven.
No,
I just happen to be in the right place at the right time with Mr. DeGarmo, who was very driven. And, you know,
right on.
Dotted the I's, crossed the T's kind of person. You know.
Yeah.
Me myself, I don't know that there is a T to be crossed.
Oh man. Well, Operation Mindcrime, everybody, the 30th anniversary, and we're gonna put some information up here so we can check out remaining tour dates and go out. Buy the album if you haven't already added it to your collection, because it's definitely one of the great ones. The third one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, awesome. Geoff Tate, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Rock Titan TV, we are here with Geoff Tate at Sellersville Theater. We're out.